Let's talk about the idea of being a mature, self-sufficient adult. This is total nonsense, and it's a way that the ruling class, the people who own all the shit, who produce nothing, who do nothing except to siphon resources out of everyone else, can hold on to the culture that gives them all that by telling all the poor people that they are somehow morally or it's in their character that they are defective if they are not so-called self-sufficient. Of course, to be self-sufficient would mean that you're living out by yourself in the woods, hunting little animals and procuring things for yourself. Also, if you are self-sufficient, you'd probably be walking around with some spear that you made ready to kill anyone invading your territory, because your territory would be very valuable to you. Essentially, you have the mindset and the ethics of a tiger or a bear out in the wild. Now, why is this a goal? Well, why do the people strive for this? Of course they don't strive for this, because when they say that their goal is self-sufficiency, or it's important to be self-sufficiency, they're saying one thing but they're meaning something else. And what they're meaning by self-sufficiency is that they are able to procure for themselves based upon their financial savings and their trades within the market, including selling their labor for money. But since they're engaging in this vast marketplace of labor, goods, resources, then they are not self-sufficient at all. They are completely dependent upon the market to provide everything for them. Furthermore, at the very least, to hold on to some shred of self-sufficiency, you'd want all these self-sufficient workers to maybe be producing something of actual worth or value that's needed, or providing some actual good that's truly needed. But if you look at what people actually do, most of it is totally bullshit. And you could have people whose basically their labor is only detrimental to everyone else, yet they're proud of themselves because they're a mature adult who's self-sufficient and has money. What about the police officers or judges or district attorneys who lock people away in cages because they have a plant? What are those people doing for society? Well, they're imprisoning others. They're essentially engaging in a form of modern-day slavery. So it's okay that you are engaging in slavery because, morally speaking, now you're a self-sufficient adult. But the homeless person who's begging for money on the street, regardless of circumstances, they are somehow not self-sufficient, so it's a character flaw. We have to understand that this is a way of denigrating the poor, denigrating people who are paid shitty wages by the capitalistic class, paying for people who do not have jobs because we have a labor surplus due to technological unemployment. Basically denigrating people because of the situation that they are in, which is outside of their control. Society has a problem where we have an antiquated economic system based upon people providing all this labor that's no longer needed. So what do you do for the people who represent surplus labor? Well, you tell them that they're not self-sufficient, and you make jokes about them because they're living in their mother's basement. What we need to do is have jokes about people who pass poor homeless people on the street and ignore them as if they are fucking garbage, because those are the true people with the character flaw. Those are the morally degenerate people. If we look at our president Trump, who is another moral degenerate, he has had business dealings with casinos. So what is a casino? Is simply an enterprise that says we're going to lure people with emotional trauma in, who are playing out their emotional trauma through gambling addiction, and get them to give us all their money, and whatever the consequences to their lives or their family lives, well, fuck it, because they just gambled it away. But somehow that person is somehow respected enough to become president of the United States, but the person living on the street or living in their mother's basement is someone to make fun of because they have character flaws. So what we're essentially having is poor people being put in a situation where stress is on them because now they are defective because they are not self-sufficient in a market, even though that is a contradiction in terms of being self-sufficient in a market, because if you're self-sufficient, you don't have a market. So this whole idea is complete nonsense. And furthermore, any culture, any society that's based upon class is going to create a set of bullshit morals which says that the poor, those people who are working for the ruling class, are shit, and they deserve to be working for the ruling class, and the ruling class who has all this shit, who produces nothing, who are basically parasites, or somehow ethically, morally, through some type of character, nature of their character, superior people. And that is what this whole self-sufficiency, being a mature adult crap is about. In fact, once I was complimented by a boss about being a mature person. That was when I was working in the post office as a mail carrier. And obviously I hated it, and I guess one day I didn't seem like I hated it more than another day, when every day I hated it completely. And so there's no day that I didn't hate it more than another day. And my asshole boss, who was a cruel, stupid person, told me that I was now mature because I was, I guess, doing my job in I don't know what he was saying, but he's basically saying that by going in and sorting out little garbage to deliver to people so they could throw away somehow makes me a mature person. Now let's just kind of think about the stupidity of that within the greater framework of what humans are doing on planet Earth. Can you imagine aliens coming down and looking inside the post office in the morning with mail carriers sorting out garbage to walk around, deliver it to people, those people can take and throw out because that's the majority of the mail. It's complete absurdity. So how does following this absurdity make someone a mature person? It all has to do with totally within the confines of the mindfuckery handing down to us by the ruling class and our society at large. So this is total bullshit. So if you are a young person, a poor person who is not able to fully provide for yourself within market exchanges, I think you should be aware that this whole thing is total bullshit, and due to labor surplus created by our machines and technology, which was not created by any single person, not created by the fucking billionaires out there. We just have a labor surplus, so I'm sorry, we all cannot be self-sufficient within a market, which is still hard to say because it's such a contradiction. You can't all be that because there aren't enough jobs to go around because your labor just isn't fucking needed. So stop listening to a culture that tells you that you're fucking shit because you're living in your mother's basement or whatever, and realize that the real people who are the moral and character or degenerates are the parasites who take from everyone else. Okay, that's it. Bye.